Hello guys, my name is Michael. Now it's time to move on after we learn about GTK-CheckButton functions, which we saw were 3 of them, and then we were working with CSS nodes, and then and now it is time to move on with the last 2 sections. So in this section we are going to use signals, which are very important ones. So basically signals we already saw here said the important signal is toggle. So that being said, let's work with this one, G-signal connect, which is our check button toggle G callback function, let's call it toggle, and then okay, check button again, because we are not going to use another okay. So now let's create a GTK toggle void toggle callback function, and then here we are going to use this time not a GTK widget but a GTK check button widget. So I think starting with now we are going to use those parameters which applies to our widgets instead of just regular widgets. And now let's see, let's say if GTK button or GTK check button get active. Okay, it's not there because it is only a button. I forgot. GTK button get active. GTK button, I'm doing something wrong as I can see here, because it is of course it's not, I think it's toggle button. Yes, toggle button get active, our button. Then we'll say G print the button was clicked, or I think it's wrong, the check button was checked. Which should be fine. Else and here we're going to say that was unchecked. So we connect the toggle button to our check button, so this means we need to catch this signal. Once that we catch this signal, we are going to call this function toggle callback, and then of course we are swapping those 2 widgets, which in our example it is the same, so basically we are using only one. And then we applied here to our function our GTK button, GTK check button widget, and we are creating an if statement, and we are saying if GTK toggle action get, is not action, is button. Why I said action, I know. So if GTK toggle button get active, then the button was checked. It's not the button was unchecked. Let's run the program and see what happens. If GTK passing the argument 1, okay, because we need a GTK toggle button. GTK, of course, we need a GTK toggle button, not check button, because our GTK toggle button get active needs a GTK toggle button get active to be a GTK toggle button. So now you see the check button was checked, was unchecked. So basically this is how we are working with this signal. Now let's create something different. Let us create a button, GTK widget button, just a regular button. Let's create it very after we have our check button. So we'll say button GTK button new with label, and I said click me. Oh no, let's say something else. Let's call it quit. Now that we have it, we can move the grid attach part here, and then we'll say this time that our button should be at the, I don't know, let's say at the position 1, so 0 left and 1 top. Let's see what happens if we run the program the way how we created. As you can see, here is our button, here is our check button. Let's create let's make some changes here. For example, check the button to quit. So what I'm trying here now, it is that I'm trying to connect basically this check button with this button, so when you hit here the quit button, that the program closes. So it should not work only and only until you are checking here. So how we will going to do this, we'll see in a moment. So we are not going to use this function anymore. We are going to create a new one, and this time we need a clickhead, because we don't need, we are going to need only the clickhead one for, let's say, clickhead callback. Okay, and this will be for our button. Now let's create the clickhead callback. Of course, we are going to provide the same parameter here. And now we can say the button, we don't need it now, so we are going to cast it. Let's say g print, I know, goodbye, and we are going to call, of course, GTK main quit here. Okay, so we are creating this callback function. Let's see what happens when I hit the quit. The program close. This is basically what we are needing. We need to close the program. Now we are going to let our toggle button to do its job now because we need it. So this means we are going to make some small changes here, which for example we'll set GTK widget set sensitive, so this means our button, and then we're going to set to true because it is clicked. If not, we're going to set it to false. GTK widget set sensitive button to false. Okay. Now what is should happen here, we have to signals here which we need to check them. The first one is the toggle, which is on the check button, and the second one is the click it, which we have it on the button, on the click it button. This signal, it will not work at least until the check it button is not checked. For this we're checking here. We said if the GTK toggle button get active, it is active, then was checked, which means we are setting our sensitive of our button to true. If not, we are setting our sensitive button to false. Now one important thing is that once that is checked, we need to swap the button with the check button. Now it is okay. So this means the toggle button we need to swap it. Sorry. So basically now we are swapping the check button with the button. Here we need to change it to, but it is a widget. Okay, so that being said, this time GTK widget, we need a GTK widget. So we will have to make some change here. So the button stays button for sensitive, and here we'll say GTK toggle button. So I had to cast basically now the button. See, so we cannot have them both. This means one cast has to take place. If it can be here or it can be here, somewhere it has to be. Okay, I run the program now, and the quit button works fine, which it should not. Of course it should not, because, sorry guys, before we do this, before we create our button, we need to set it to false, because if we are not setting the button to false, it will be there, you see. So now you cannot click it, so that means you cannot quit the program. To quit the program, you need to hit here X, or you need to check the button. Once that you check the button, here we say check the button to quit, it should reveal our button. It should set it sensitive to true, so that we can quit our program. And then we have a problem. It says invalid cache from GTK button to GTK toggle button. No problem, because we can fix it. Let's see it. The GTK toggle button needs a GTK toggle button. This is true. And then GTK widget, and somewhere here is the problem. After I click it, GTK widget. Let's see. Let's run the program again. No, the toggle button get active failed. It's a toggle button. Why and what I'm doing wrong here? Let's see. Check button toggle, we are basically making it wrong, because I think that we can fix it. Yes, of course, my mistake guys, because we are not going to swap these buttons, but we are going to use them both. So this means we need a GTK button and GTK button, a toggle button too. So G pointer data, and of course gpointer data tool. So now we have our GTK toggle button. Sorry, GTK button. We'll see now if it works. Okay, so this means the cast here is not needed anymore, and then we are passing the data here. Let's run the program, see what happens, and now works fine. Okay, that was a problem. So we cannot hit the quit button because its sensitivity is set to false. So here says check the button to quit. So this means if we are not checking this button, we cannot quit. I will check the button. Once that is checked, reveals our button which says quit, and if I hit the quit button now, the program exits and says goodbye. So what did I make wrong? If it is easy to understand it, because I was calling the GSignal Connect swap. So basically I swapped the button with the check button, but we need a toggle signal, which means we need both widgets. So you cannot have two widgets with GSignal Connect swap. It is impossible. That is only for one widget, but because we are needing the check button and the button too in the throwback callback function, which is here. As you can see, our data, it is at this moment it is our button, and this one, let's call it check it button, because if not creates confusion. You see, so here I will call it button. Now it is much easier for you to understand where the difference is. Okay, so now I fix the program so that you understand it. This means the toggle callback function now takes two parameters. The first one is the toggle GTK toggle button, and the second one is our G pointer. So the first one is the check button, the second one is only the regular button. We are checking it's active. If it's active with the GTK toggle button get active. Once that we checked and we found out that the button it is active, we are setting the sensitive of the regular button to true. If not, it is it will be set to false. To achieve this, we need to set it to false just very after we create the button, because you saw already if you not set it here to false, if you run the program, you still can hit the button here. So basically only after you play with this thing, you see now it's working, now it's missing, but you need to check the button first. So if you want to do that, to reveal the button after you check the check it button, then you need to set its sensitive of that regular button to false. That being said, here of course because it's the same it is the same button, we are going to use of course the swap it, because here it is the same. We are using only one widget. Okay, so that being said, we learned today new things. We learn how to apply a toggle and signal, a toggle signal and a click signal to our widgets. We are working with the toggle signal the way how the description said. Important signal is toggle, you see. So basically we are using it by using this toggle signal together with the button click signal. We created this important program which let us to take control of widget by checking this checkbox here, like I do now. So that being said, this is the part which we talk today, and this is the things which we learned today together. Now, just for your information, the next tutorial, it will be very, very important, because the next tutorial it is not about how you toggle a button and how you disable or set its sensitive of a widget to false or true. We are going to work with another function which is called gsignal handle disconnect, and this function makes those things like a little bit different from what we were creating here, because as you can see here to make this program work, we had to disconnect. I mean, we had to set it sensitive to false, so we had to kill, if we can call it like this, the button. But what about if you don't want to kill the button? I mean, what about if you want to have the button here clickable for some information, but you don't want its signal to work? This we are going to talk in the next tutorial. Until then, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.